Hello. Because of the COVID-19 pandemic, we recently got a lot of messages suggesting that, we can't do classroom or face-to-face training anymore, or not as good as we used to. Therefore, we will have to move to the other kind of learning, which is virtual or live online or digital. And that's going to be the major difference between the pre and the post-COVID world. I don't agree that that is the major difference between learning. There's a lot of ways to slice and dice learning. And yes, virtual versus non-virtual, that's different. To me, those differences are mostly logistical. For example, in the world of a classroom, face-to-face training, you will need a room, you will need a venue where we can all be together at the same time. You will probably need a projector, you will need somebody who can, in an interactive way, explain things and have some presence. When you move that to virtual learning, then, there are other logistical challenges. You will need internet, you will need a webcam, you will need people who can use web conferencing tools, you will need a web conferencing tool, etc. So lots of different logistics there. But I think if there's one major way to splice and dice learning, it's not that one. It's it's learning in or out of the flow of life and work. Maybe you call it formal, informal learning. I started to call it Habitat L and Habitat W because there are two natural places where learning occurs. And the first natural place is the world of intense learning moments, the Habitat L. It's where learning is the major thing we do. And then there is Habitat W, the world of work and life, and that's where learning is also there, but at the background, always a little bit, but it's not the main thing you do. And I think one of the mistakes we have done in the past is to use the words and the metaphors and the tools of one of these natural places where learning occurs and just put that in the other world. And that doesn't really work. It has limited success. For example, in the world we're good at, historically, a world of intense learning moments, we talk about courses and competencies and certificates, and none of that really resonates in the world of work and life in Habitat W. There we talk about projects and meetings and performance and experiences. So I think this crisis, yes, it calls us to deliver more or to logistically change to more live online learning. But I think fundamentally it calls upon us to get out of this one world we're really good at, the world of intense learning, and how do we support learning when, like within this crisis, we see there is less of a fixed, dedicated time and place for learning reserved, and we need to make sure it keeps happening in the background all the time. So that's a challenge I'll be working on over the next months.